You are listening to Naked Soul Reflections, Mindful Moments for Clothes-Free Living, with your host, Hantune Hart.
Greetings, everyone. Hantune Hart here, and welcome to another episode of Naked Soul Reflection. This past week, I found myself on a cleaning spree. I was heading into another chapter of life, stage in life. I took to giving a space a thorough clean down. And what I found is that, there are some things where it's like, okay, I know that I should clean this because I've been in this space and might have spilled something or tracked some dirt in or whatever. But I also found myself cleaning other areas that had been affected by things from many, many years ago. I thought, okay, maybe I'll dust this off. Maybe I'll wipe down that window. Maybe I'll clean that surface too. And I really wanted to just make everything beautiful. And I thought, okay, I have this great intention, this great zeal to just take this space and just completely refresh it. But what I found is that while in certain areas where I was just doing light cleanup from anything that I might have touched or if I had dropped anything somewhere, when I started going into other spaces that I hadn't been in before, trying to clean those areas actually created some issues. Like I was knocking things over, and like trying to clean the surfaces actually felt like I was making it dirtier because there was just so much gunk. Things like breaking and whatnot. And I felt so frustrated. I was like, I'm trying to do a good thing. I just want to refresh the space. Why is this so difficult? I thought I was doing a good thing. But what I got from that experience is that sometimes I want to do too much. I have this perspective of looking at everything like there's something wrong and I need to fix it. So one, assuming that there is something wrong in the first place, and two, that I should be the one to fix it. And it's an interesting thing to step back from that and think, why did I think that there was something wrong? I mean, in the first place, sure, maybe I had, just this great thought in my mind that I wanted to make everything beautiful, but what if I had just left those things as they were and allowed, the appropriate person to deal with it? So, and I wrestled with that because I love doing good things for other people. I don't like it, I love it. I love doing good things for people. And I do believe in giving and service and doing things for others and being generous with that. And I believe that can become obsessive and it can become overbearing and compulsive and harmful. And perhaps you've had this experience in your life where you try to do something good, you have a good intention, but maybe you anger someone, maybe you pissed somebody off, maybe you broke something, maybe it just didn't really have an impact at all, seemingly, or whatever. Maybe you made more stress for yourself. And you walk away and you thought, wow, I thought I was doing a good thing. I just saw this issue and I wanted to address it, but I'm more stressed out. Everybody's mad at me now. What happened? And there are a million reasons for that, possibly, right? But in some cases, sometimes, perhaps it's okay for us to step back and say, I'm not going to touch it. Different from just being of service, helping others in need, helping a friend, helping a family member. But, there are times where you're like, maybe I'll just refrain. don't know that there's ever an indicator where that it's right to refrain or right not to refrain, but it might just be like testing it out and becoming more intuitive with it. I don't know, because I'm still in the midst of studying it myself, given my experience this week. But for instance, this even shows up at work for me, right? Like, I'll see other colleagues going through something and I'll step in and think that I need to solve it, that I need to fix it. And this whole past year, like, trying too much to do things on my own and make everything better for everybody else really just created like more problems that probably, that maybe would not have happened if I hadn't gotten in the way by trying to make it better. So that can happen sometimes. And I think my clothes-free life could actually be a tool for this. Taking off the layers and really learning what is me and what isn't me. What's mine and what's not mine. That can be very powerful, right? I mean, many of us have either talked about on Twitter or Instagram, Tumblr, blog posts that, you take off the layers and you get to your true self. You put on layers of clothing. Usually, it's for a purpose, whether it's for a uniform for work, a particular dress code for specific occasions, events. But we can end up tying our identity to the things that we put on, the things that we take on. So clothes-free living can, if as a possibility, give us the feeling of taking off the things that are not ours to carry. Putting things down that are not ours to carry and stress about. And again, I don't think there's a magic formula out there, like, if it meets these criteria, this is what it is, and you should or should not do something about it. If you have a helpful formula or you find out the secret to life, please do share it with all of us. We would love to have it, but I don't think there's a simple formula right now to figure out what that means out and about in life. But I certainly thought about that as I was looking at my failed attempts to make something cleaner and prettier. I thought, I see that there are so many times where I take on additional stresses or additional responsibilities that I don't actually have to take on. And again, it doesn't mean that I never help people or give or do anything. It just means discerning and understanding that this is not my identity and it's not something that defines me, something that I need to carry. It's something for me to choose or not choose. And it's something for you to choose or not choose in your life. So think about that this week as you're going about. Is there something that you often find yourself stressing about, complaining about? And step back and think, is that actually something that I need to carry? Is that me? Or am I choosing to take on something, some additional stress and frustration that I don't actually have to wear? Can I take that off? Maybe it's something at your job where you're always the one to, clean up after everybody at a meeting. And you feel frustrated, all these people are so nasty and disgusting, they always leave their cups. Maybe you just don't do it. Or you're the person who always reports the leaks in the ceiling. Maybe you're always the one who's, responding to, like, the kids or dealing with another relative and feeling like you always have to do something in response to them. Maybe it's anything where it just brings you a lot of stress and frustration, and by the end of the day you feel depleted. Think about that this week, and you might not be able to come up with it right now in the moment while listening to this, but just keep that in your mind and in your heart, and perhaps you'll recognize it this week. You might encounter it and think, here is a moment, an opportunity for me to realize that this stress is not me, that I don't have to wear this, I don't have to carry it. I can actually choose to assume responsibility for it, or I can step back and refrain and say, I choose to not engage with that. It could even be, it could be any frustrations in your environment happening. Maybe this person is upset about something, and maybe you step back and think, okay, do I feel that way? Is that the way that I want to respond to it, or do I actually have a different response that I want to take? This could be so helpful in finding inner balance and peace, and knowing that peace and balance are not about becoming inert indefinitely, but discernment. It's about cultivating an understanding of, okay, I'm going to choose to deal with this right now. I'll choose to deal with that later. That's not mine. I'm not going to take on that stress right now. I am going to help out with this. But knowing what is you and what is not you, what is yours and what's not yours. Tricky. Hard to talk about that in a couple of minutes on a podcast, but just carry that with you. Knowing that we always have a responsibility to be in service. We're part of a global community. We're part of families and friendship circles and neighborhoods and offices of sorts, different types of working environments, different types of collaborative environments, and just becoming aware of any time that maybe we're just trying too hard, that we're just forcing it too much, and taking a step back and saying, okay, I'm going to do this, and then that'll be the end of it. And finding a balance that for you, and something where your balance seems to contribute to a greater environmental balance as well. As always, my heart is with you, and I'm going to be practicing the exact same thing all week long. Have a great week, and namaste, friends.